Wonder Woman. From 1975 to 1979, Wonder Woman was fighting for us on the small screen in the Wonder Woman TV show, where the Amazon princess would take on all kinds of criminals while still looking smoking and badass. Lynda Carter leaps into action as Wonder Woman with plenty of spirits and gusto, and whether she's fighting in World War II in the 1940s or criminals in the 1970s, one thing is for sure, Wonder Woman will always be there to save the day, and she will never let the people down in this now classic and idolized show, which is often considered one of the most adored live-action superhero adaptations. Yep, it's time to go back to the disco days of Wonder Woman by looking into 10 things that you didn't know about the Wonder Woman TV show. There will be bangs, there will be crashes, but above all there will be Wonder Woman in her 1970s skateboarding glory. So let's check it out, or otherwise I'm gonna call the cops. Number 10. The origins of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was the creation of psychologist and writer William Moulton Marston, who incidentally also helped to create the polygraph test, thanks to his work on creating a blood pressure measuring apparatus. His idea of creating Wonder Woman for DC Comics was to have a superhero who didn't use fists or firepower to defeat wrongdoers, but rather fought with love. So Wonder Woman was created, an Amazon princess who was created out of clay and brought to life by sheer willpower and granted superpowers by Greek gods. Wonder Woman leaves her native land to go and fight in World War II, where she can use her lasso of truth in order to tie up her opponents, which puts them into submission and makes them speak the truth. And yeah, it's been theorized that Marston, who was in a polyamory lifestyle with his wife and girlfriend, was into some kinky stuff, like bondage and submission, and a lot of that was incorporated into Wonder Woman, as well as the comics also featuring scenes of Wonder Woman being spanked. Yeah, lots of spanking going on. But once again, this is just being theorized, so you decide for yourself. Wonder Woman made her debut in All-Star Comics number 8 in 1941, and made further leaps and bounds in Sensation Comics number 1 in 1942, and then she got her very own comic series, also in 1942. Finally, there was a female superhero who could stand tall alongside Batman and Superman, where Wonder Woman would very quickly become one of the most recognizable and celebrated characters in the lineup of DC superheroes, and still is to this day, with her, Batman and Superman being considered the DC Trinity. Number 9. First failed live-action attempts. The 1970s Lynda Carter Wonder Woman, as we know her, actually wasn't the first live-action interpretation of Wonder Woman, but she was in fact the third. In 1967, during the craze of the Batman TV show, an unaired Wonder Woman TV pilot was produced called Who's Afraid of Diana Prince? Seriously, such a bizarre name for a Wonder Woman show, which was intended to be the start of a Wonder Woman series. It starred Eli Wood as Diana Prince and Linda Harrison as her superhero alter ego Wonder Woman. The show definitely went more in the direction of a sitcom, and needless to say, it wasn't picked up. Then jumped to the early 70s, and ABC and Warner Brothers decided to make a TV series based on Wonder Woman, and a pilot was put together and was broadcast in March 1974. The pilot features Kathy Lee Crosby as Diana Prince and Wonder Woman. Not only does Crosby bear little resemblance to Wonder Woman along with her costume, but the pilot in general felt more James Bond secret agent adventure than it did superhero comic book. That's because the pilot followed closely to the Wonder Woman comics of that time, where the character had lost her superpowers, ditched her iconic costume, where she would work for military intelligence, as well as become an astronaut and work for United Nations, with the character becoming more action hero than superhero, more in line with, say, Modesty Blaze. and so the 1974 pilot just followed this notion. But even though this depiction was more accurate to the comics of that time, maybe people just had that iconic image of Wonder Woman in their heads and just couldn't get on board with this new 1970s version. Number 8. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So the 1974 movie pilot of Wonder Woman was considered a failure, with its ratings being labelled as, quote, respectable, but not exactly wondrous. So ABC didn't go further with this iteration of Wonder Woman, but they weren't ready to give up either. So ABC decided to make another TV pilot in 1975. This version of Wonder Woman was to be more in line with the original comics. It'll be set during World War II in the 1940s, and Wonder Woman would have her iconic suit, as well as her bracelets of submission, and her lasso of truth. And yes, her invisible aeroplane, with the show being developed by writer-actor Stanley Ralph Ross, who previously also wrote episodes of the 1960s Batman TV series. Yes indeed, this new attempt to bring Wonder Woman onto the small screen was going to feel more like the Wonder Woman comics has come to life on people's television sets, which sadly left the 1974 pilot as a forgotten relic. An obscure and curious chapter in the Wonder Woman mythology which often gets forgotten about. But all said and done, at least a memorable classic show would come out of this change. Number 7. Finding the iconic Wonder Woman of the 70s. So the search was on to find a new Wonder Woman, one who could capture Wonder Woman's iconic comic book look. Several actresses were considered, including future Charlie's Angels star Jacqueline Smith, and future Blade Runner and Who Framed Roger Rabbit star Joanna Cassidy. The part went to the 1972 Miss World USA winner Lynda Carter. And wow, what a great bit of casting. Only 23 at the time, she brought tons of heart and spirit to the role, and did have a very heroic presence. When it came to Wonder Woman's sidekick, Steve Trevor, Lyle Waggoner was cast, despite looking nothing like his comic book counterpart. But he also brings a lot of heart and likability, and Waggoner already had ties to DC Comics, as he auditioned to play Batman for the 1960s Batman TV series. But as we all know, he lost to Adam West. So I like to think in a weird way, this is kind of like a Wonder Woman and Bruce Wayne team-up. According to Lynda Carter, when she was cast as Wonder Woman, she only had $25 to her name. Wow, it seems that before she was Wonder Woman, she was Broke Woman. Number 6. Lynda Carter created one of Wonder Woman's signature characteristics. So one problem that was a bit of an earache for the production of the Wonder Woman show was how to show Diana transform into Wonder Woman. In the comics, Diana would usually disappear and suddenly Wonder Woman was there. I guess it was felt that this wouldn't translate well on screen. Lynda Carter herself came up with the idea of Diana doing a ballet-style magical spin, which transforms her into her Wonder Woman getup. However, in the first couple of episodes, the effect looked quite different, as it was shown in slow motion, where Diana would fade out and Wonder Woman would fade in while holding her Diana clothes. It wasn't quick and felt very slow, and it was also felt that this effect was too time and cost effective to achieve. So after the first few transformations, a bright glow was added, with the sequence feeling punchier and more dynamic, and the notion of Diana spinning into her Wonder Woman alter ego would actually be incorporated into the Wonder Woman mythos. Another standout aspect of Wonder Woman in the series is Wonder Woman's bracelets, where we would see bullets, aka sparks, hitting her bracelets whenever evildoers were trying to shoot her. This effect was achieved by having Carter hold onto a control within her hand, and when she would push a button on the control, it would set off the sparks. That's actually pretty inventive. Number 5. Season 2 Revamp. So as far as ratings and reviews go, the first season of Wonder Woman had done very well, as it seems the public adored her and embraced this version of Wonder Woman. Despite this though, ABC weren't too keen on the show's World War II settings, finding the costumes, sets, and vehicles to be costly. So when it was time to renew Wonder Woman for a second season, ABC just couldn't seem to make up their minds as to whether or not they want to renew the show. So CBS stepped up to the challenge and now took on Wonder Woman, in which the show got a revamp, where now the show was set in modern times, aka the 70s, the time the show was made in. And it was no longer about war, but rather modern day criminals and villains, where Diana Prince became an agent for the Interagency Defense Command. It's explained that this is the same Diana that we saw in season 1, and that she just never aged, which makes sense because she's Wonder Woman, and that Steve Trevor was now Steve Trevor Jr. So it was still a continuation of the first season, just set 30 odd years later. The show's title was also changed to The New Adventures of Wonder Woman. Personally, I prefer the 1970s version, as it just sat better with the tone of the show, in my opinion, and made it more fun and fantastical, where instead of seeing Wonder Woman in a World War II setting, she was now skateboarding. And frankly, we need more Wonder Woman skateboarding. Yes, Wonder Woman was now in the days of disco. It's been suggested that the Wonder Woman TV show might have the biggest time jump in a TV series, with season 1 being set in the 40s and season 2 being set in the 70s, with a big 30-year time jump there. Number 4. Lynda Carter, Above and Beyond. One particular scene in the Wonder Woman show was to see Wonder Woman hanging onto a flying helicopter, a very dangerous stunt which naturally required a stunt double. However, when filming that scene, it was just too glaringly obvious that this wasn't Wonder Woman holding on, aka Lynda Carter, but her stunt double. The film crew were trying to find ways to film the scene so the double's face could be concealed. So Lynda Carter herself said, "No problem, I can do that," where the actress herself actually hung on to a flying helicopter. Behind the scenes, she apparently got into big trouble for this, but Carter had no regrets, as she found the experience to be lots of fun. But let's not overlook many of the dangerous stunts that the stunt doubles did for the show. As you can see here, an amazing stunt performed by a Wonder Woman stunt performer, Kitty O'Neil, leaping off a building. Wow. In fact, according to IMDb, the son of Jeannie Epper, who was one of the Wonder Woman stunt doubles, told the other kids at school that his mother performed stunts on the Wonder Woman show, and the other kids didn't believe him. Whereupon, hearing about this, Lynda Carter invited this kid's class to the Wonder Woman set to see his mother performing the stunts for the show. Wow, that was incredibly nice of her. Number 3. Further changes. In the show's earlier days, there was hesitation to show Wonder Woman engaging with hits and kicks and general fisticuffs in order to not be too violent. But as the show went on, this policy was mellowed out, where we could see Wonder Woman engaging more in physical combat. And a robot called Rover was introduced, in order to give the show more of a comical flair. Ugh! Yeah, look, it was the late 70s. Thanks to R2-D2 and Star Wars, there was now cute robots turning up all over the place. Even Doctor Who at the time got a funny, cute robot sidekick. Rover even made meep meep noises that were recycled from the Roadrunner cartoons. As the series went on, Carter and Lyle Waggoner were in fewer and fewer scenes together. It has been suggested that this may be because there were tensions between the two of them on set. However, Carter would go on to address these rumours by saying that there were no tensions between the two of them, but further states that she wishes she did get to know him better. It seems that Waggoner didn't like the show's change to modern day settings, feeling that the show was more successful when it had its original 1940s settings, and that had the show remained just seeing Wonder Woman battling Nazis, then the show probably would still be going today. Number 2. Wonder Woman became a doll. So in the day and age of the late 70s, when merchandise was everything, particularly action figures and playsets of popular movies to appeal to kids, Wonder Woman got her own 12-inch doll line by the company Mego. So children who are fans of the show can create their own Wonder Woman adventures at home, where kids could get their own dolls of Wonder Woman and Diana Prince, as well as other characters from the show. However, it seems that Mego may have lost interest in the show. I don't know if that's due to ratings or copyright or other issues. But the original packaging, which looked glorious, featured Lynda Carter. But for whatever reason, the packaging got a redesign, where Carter was no longer on the artwork, and all the other characters that were in the lineup were dropped. And there were actually playsets that were made for these dolls and were intended to be released, but they were dropped too. However, in recent years, the merchandising of the Wonder Woman TV show has had a revival, where her adventures have continued in a comic book series called Wonder Woman 77. In the series, she would join forces with the Bionic Woman, as well as doing a crossover with Adam West's Batman. Yep, surely a crossover of the ages that many fans had been waiting for. In fact, I think it would be pretty cool if they made some animated adventures based on Wonder Woman 77, just like they did with Batman 66. Number 1. Cancellation. The third season of Wonder Woman wrapped up with a hinted relaunch of the show, with Diana being sent to the Los Angeles Bureau of IADC, which also introduced a new cast of characters, with the intention of this new setting being explored in Season 4. Oddly, despite intending to be the season finale to pave the way for Season 4, this episode titled The Man Who Could Not Die wouldn't actually be the last episode broadcast in Season 3. Well, regardless, a Season 4 was not picked up, for a variety of reasons. 1. A lack of interest, as Season 4 just wasn't getting off the ground. 2. A drop in ratings, with the episodes in Season 3 taking a viewership dive. And finally, 3. Lynda Carter's career was really taking off at that time, and she now wanted to solely focus on a music career. And so, after 3 seasons and 60 episodes, the Wonder Woman TV show was now no more. But in the following years, this Wonder Woman TV show would be seen as a success and one of the most popular and most well-loved superhero adaptations of all time, still very much celebrated to this day. In later years, Lynda Carter would return to the superhero world, as she would star in episodes of Smallville and Supergirl, as well as have a cameo in Wonder Woman 84. So she is still a cherished and respected powerhouse in the superhero genre. Her portrayal of Wonder Woman is iconic, and to me and many others, she will always be the face of Wonder Woman, thanks to the heart and panache she brought to the part. She will always be a magical and cherished part of many people's childhoods, to whom she was their introduction to Wonder Woman, where we would see her in her satin tights, fighting for your rights, and the old red, white and blue. Yeah, I think it's a fun show with a good heart and is genuinely easy to digest and just sit back and let the good times roll. Made in a day and age where it wasn't mandatory that superheroes need to be dark and tortured, ugh. But they can be fun and light-hearted and have a zest for life. Anyway, I'm Minty, and seriously, bring on those animated Wonder Woman 77 adventures. See ya!